How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So glad you're here. So today's video is going to be mounting this winch bumper that I got in the salvage yard onto the truck here. I wanted to give the truck a little bit of a facelift. Now, I love these brick nose Fords, don't get me wrong, but let's be honest, they're the ugliest Ford that Ford ever built. I mean, just a straight brick nose, it doesn't look very cool, and I really like these winch bumpers. In fact, I've been trying to find one of these things for like half a decade, long before I even did YouTube videos. I had another 91 F250, same body style, and I really wanted one of these winch bumpers. Couldn't find one, or they're too expensive. This one ended up in my lap for 40 bucks at my local salvage yard. Came off real easy, 4 bolts, and so it's worth using. It's gonna need a little bit of work. Now, right here is a brush guard that came on it as well, and these center beams were just thrashed. I mean, at my local steel yard, someone tried to straighten it back out, but it just didn't work out very well. So got myself some thicker, stronger pipe actually. And the goal for now is to weld a nut in there, straighten these 2 posts out. And so I'm gonna have to unbolt those, straighten them back out to mount this pipe. The rest of the bumper here just needs a little bit of paint, and that's what I expected. It has a little CB antenna there, but a little bit of black paint and a couple missing screws, and this thing's gonna look brand new. And it's all Alright, so just skipping ahead here, there was just a lot of banging and hammering and putting the bolts back on. This is pretty much perfect. I would say maybe off by 1 degree at the bottom there, 1 degree off at the bottom here, but 90 degrees here, and that's what matters. Everything was bent out of shape, guys. This was bent, this was bent. The back side of this was pulled out from being torqued in so hard. So a little bit of fabrication really straightened these back out well. What I got here now are these pipes are going to fit perfect in between these rails. All right, so before I get started, let me show you what I'm doing here. Just grabbing a washer and a 3/8 nut. This is a 9/16 washer, I should add. I'm just going to weld it on. So, first time ever welding a nut and washer before, and it looks pretty ugly, but it's going to be on the inside of the pipe, so you'll never even see it. So after hammering it in, this pipe, it's a perfect fit. Now all I got to do is just weld it around the edge, and it'll be ready to go back on the winch bumper. Nice. Well, not going to win any awards, guys, but I'll grind that smooth and it'll be fine. So here you go, guys. Not bad. Well, guys, I'm not going to lie to you and say this came out perfect. There is some imperfections, some paint runs, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. Just a couple rattle cans really did transform the look of this bumper. So last thing I wanted to install was this winch fair lead. Now, even though I don't have a winch, I think it's still going to be a really cool addition to this winch bumper. Add a little bit of character to it. I did have to drill out these holes to be 1/2 inch. They were originally 7/16, but that wasn't that big of a deal. All right, finally time to take this thing off. Now, this was a little bit harder than I thought it would be. This nut here and then the one above it were just almost seized on there. The other side is even harder. So I'm gonna set up the tripod here and see what I can do. There you go, guys. 1988 bumper. Last thing before I start putting this bumper back on is, you see these tabs here? They're designed to keep the bolt from coming through this bracket. So all you have to do is just focus on removing this one nut. Well, I had applied so much torque with my impact gun that some of these tabs have broken off. And you can see how loose that bolt is now. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld these together, this bolt to this plate. And even though it's not factory, I think it's going to be a safer design because that winch bumper is probably twice as heavy as the original bumper there. Oh, that's sketchy. Oh gosh. Well, this isn't working anyway because this is going to have to be spread out a little bit. Okay, so after delay after delay, this thing is finally ready to get back on the truck. And let me explain why it wouldn't fit on the first time. Reason being was these two brackets were too close together by only like 1/8 of an inch, but it just wouldn't slide right over the frame rails. So I noticed that this bracket was in farther than that bracket, so I decided to loosen up the bolts and try to bring it in or bring it out some. But what I had to end up doing was egg out this rectangle tubing. Whoever put this on, put it on at an angle. You can see it's not straight. They didn't do the best job welding, I would say. I'm one to talk, but they were just straight holes. So I wasn't able to slide this out any. So what I had to do was take this on the drill press, and you can see all the shavings and stuff. It took all night to egg out these holes to where a 1/2 inch bolt will be able to slide just that tiny little bit of length to fit on the truck. But I'm going to bolt this back on. Everything's ready to go now. Put it on the jack again. Should bolt up. As a general rule, I always remember to lift with my back and not with my legs. Well, it's pretty much perfect. From this end, it's about 10 5/8. Here, it's about 10 7/8. So roughly 1/4 1/8 going on in there. This corner is sagging just a little bit. It's got 1 inch over here, while this side only has about 5/8. So that's probably the worst spot, but around the fenders, which you can't see on camera, they have the same exposure within a 1/16 or 1/8 by these chrome trim pieces here. So it's good to go. Well, there you have it, guys. You know, it's not in perfect condition, but for what I paid for it, it really is in great shape, and I'm really glad I found this thing. I don't have a winch, so the fair lead's kind of irrelevant. But hey, it looks cool and I like the way it looks on the truck. So guys, thanks so much for watching. And next week I'm going to be working on the interior, or the engine bay rather, doing return lines, oil change, fuel filter, that sort of thing. So stay tuned and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.